prayer and pledge of allegiance. Our Father,
who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, item C on the agenda is approval of minutes from November 11th, 13th, 15th, and 22nd, special council meetings, and the regular council meeting, which is on the 15th. In the absence of any objections or corrections, the minutes shall stand approved. Okay, hearing none, they stand approved. Item D is citizen communication. If there's anyone in the audience that would like to address council on something that is not on the agenda, please, this time you can come up to the microphone here. And if you're on WebEx, you can put in the chat your questions, and we will get to those. All right. Item E, update on Lifewise Academy by Ben Hartford. Welcome, Ben.
Thank you. Thank you, Council, for having me. Appreciate the opportunity to share a little bit about Lifewise Academy and something that's been impacting our community. Before the meeting tonight, I brought these for you, and as well as some pictures of our local Lifewise here. And I just really wanted to share with you a little bit about what Lifewise is overall, and then kind of what we're doing here in Napoleon specifically. So the why, as a pastor myself, and I'm faced with the reality that 8 out of 10 Americans nationwide don't attend church, but 9 out of 10 attend a public school. And so with the Ohio Revised Code allowing release time religious instruction, Lifewise Academy takes advantage of that and offers an opportunity for students up to 1 hour a week to be released during the school day off the premises to attend Lifewise Academy, where we teach them the Bible as well as what we call Lifewise qualities. And so the 3 tenets of release time and Lifewise Academy has to be off-school property, it has to be privately funded, and with parental consent. And so with that, about a year ago, a group of us from Napoleon saw this happening in Ohio and in different school districts, and we said, hey, what does it take for Lifewise to come to Napoleon? And so we started leading the effort, praying, talking to other community members, talking to other churches, and we were really excited about the feedback that we received and the excitement and the support. The how, the Lifewise pledge is 6-fold. It's to be gospel-centered, unashamedly, but we understand, number 2, that a byproduct of learning Scripture and knowing that Scripture changes you from the inside out is it becomes character-focused, and it begins to adapt who you are and becoming a better person overall and who God made you to be. Number 3, it is local church-driven. I like local community-driven as well. The faith community together is what it's driven by, so it's not this outside organization or entity coming in. What Lifewise does is, number 4, they provide a plug-and-play model for us to go by, but it really is community-driven. Their vision, number 5, is for the nation. And number 6, done with excellence. We believe that as kingdom citizens, we're to do things with excellence. And so that is what we strive for in everything. And so about a year ago, a group of us started, and we're extremely blessed to see what this has turned into. right from the very beginning, our partnership with the school has been extremely favorable. We just really appreciate all that they've done to accommodate us and to allow us to time in the schedule per the board-adopted policy to meet with kids. We currently have 252 students in Napoleon area schools enrolled in this program. So they attend Lifewise. Each student has the opportunity about 45 minutes a week to attend Lifewise. So they're released by homeroom. So if the student would elect to be a part of Lifewise, then when their homeroom teacher time is released, and they're able to attend Lifewise. So if you're in Mr. Smith's class, and Mr. Smith's class is 9:30 on Mondays, then that is your time as a student of Mr. Smith's to attend Lifewise Academy. So students are, I included a fresh picture of our Lifewise bus, but they are shuttled to the First Baptist Church, and about 4.5-minute drive. And so the commute time ends up being, about 7 minutes total between getting them from the classroom doors to the Lifewise classroom. And so we see about 30 minutes of quality classroom time with them that teachers are able to engage and share with them in class. So the way the class flows really is students come in and they share a little bit. The teacher reviews with them. Mrs. Bem, Krista Bem is one of our Lifewise teachers, as well as Mrs. Emily Meyer, and so they do a phenomenal job working with our kids. We have typically 2 homerooms released to us at any given time, and so we felt like we needed to hire 2 teachers to best accommodate the ratios that we are going to have. This model really works well on the smaller the ratio of teacher to student is, as well as having volunteers in the classroom. So we review with them the previous lesson. We engage in scripture memory. So together we'll learn scripture and share and recite, and then they'll learn a Bible story for that day. And the whole point of this is for it to be, as point number 1 of the pledge says, gospel-centered. So we believe everything in Scripture either points towards Christ or points back to Christ if you're later in the New Testament. And so, this morning we learned the story of Abraham and his son Isaac, and they learned the value of sacrifice and the story of sacrifice, and then what Christ did for us as he sacrificed on the cross for us. And then what does it mean for you to sacrifice your time, maybe to give up something meaningful for somebody else. And so that is what we call the Lifewise quality. And so each class really ends with something that's gospel-centered, but then also a Lifewise quality, tangibly. What is Scripture teaching us? How can we apply this to our everyday life? So another Lifewise trait might be obedience. It might be responsibility or respect. And so there are a number of different tracks for this program. So, some of the students that we're receiving that are in the 3rd grade, we understand we may only have 1 or 2 years with them, and so they're on a 2-year track to go through the entire Bible in 1 or 2 years, where a kindergartner might be on a 5-year track, because we hope to have them in the program for multiple years. And so it's been a really cool thing. The church partnerships have really been a blessing. It's been really neat to work with the churches as they've sent volunteers and finances and, of course, prayers for this program. No one church really could have done this on their own, so it's super valuable. I'll end with a couple things, just some quick testimonies. One from a mom. She wrote, I'll switch the name out. Allison made a card for her best friend. She explained what Thanksgiving should mean to her. I was bawling, and this was from a class that she had in Lifewise. We were on the process of looking for a new church, and I was worried about them. We were on the fence about sending them to Lifewise and waited until the last minute to make the decision. The kids are truly blessed to have this program in their lives. Thank you, thank you, thank you. She's seeing the tangible impact that has in her daughter's life. And then Actually, one of the kindergarten teachers is a Thanksgiving assignment. A few weeks ago, before Thanksgiving, an NES kindergarten teacher assigned her class to write out one thing they were thankful for and then turn it in. And she was completely overwhelmed. And this is not the Lifewise teacher. This is the Napoleon school teacher. She was overwhelmed as she began to read what they wrote. And almost every student, Lifewise student that she had, wrote that they were thankful for Christ and what his life meant to them. And so teachers are seeing the impact when the students leave for the day, are released to Lifewise, and then return. Just their whole demeanor is different, and we believe that, not only are we teaching them the Bible, but we're also teaching them what it means to live that out. And so yeah, I just wanted to thank you for the opportunity to give you a little bit of update and to share with you today.
Thank you. What grades are involved right now?
Grades kindergarten through third grade.
Third.
Yep. So we have about 45% of that target group that is enrolled in Lifewise currently.
How can the kids get enrolled?
Yeah. So they can. Easiest way is to either go to our Facebook page or to ask a teacher, or to go to lifewiseacademy.org/NapoleonOH, and that'll take you right to our local landing page.
So I guess I've heard quite a bit about this. I think it's an awesome program. One question I had is kind of what I was just asking, like, so what if there's a kid that hears a friend that went and really likes it, but maybe he just doesn't have that home life of somebody that's going to go on the website or they're going to make those calls. So then the kid would go to a teacher, or
Yeah.
hopefully their friend's parent would say, hey, little Johnny wants to go also.
Yeah, we do whatever we can to encourage the students to invite their friends. Every time a teacher picks up the class from the homeroom, they have permission slips with them, so as well as when we return students. And so if there is a kid that would ask for a permission slip saying, hey, I would love to come, we try to make it as easy as possible without getting the school involved. We understand their position, and we want to respect that and maintain those boundaries. And so we do whatever we can on our end to make sure that we're spreading awareness on how students can get involved the easiest way possible.
Thank you. Any other questions? Comments? Okay, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, moving on to item F, reports from council committees. Finance and Budget Committee met in special session with City Council on November 22nd, 2021 for the mayor's presentation of the 2022 budget. F2, Safety and Human Resource Committees did not meet on November 22nd due to lack of agenda items. And the Technology and Communication Committee did not meet tonight due to lack of agenda items. Moving on to item H. Okay, H1 is introduction of new ordinances and resolutions. Resolution number 047-21. A resolution authorizing the City of Napoleon, Ohio to enter into an economic development and real estate purchase agreement with the Cultural Center of Henry County, the Board of Education of the Napoleon Area School District, and Carol Morley Beck, and declaring an emergency.
Motion.
Second.
You need a vote to untable.
Yep. Do we need the
Motion to
motion to untable?
Motion to untable.
Second.
Okay, Rox, please call the roll.
Molly,
Yes.
Ross.
Yes.
Ken.
Yes.
Dan.
Yes.
Joe.
Yes.
Lori.
Yes.
Jeff.
Yes.
Okay, then as a point of order, you still have a motion and a second for this too. So at this point, the recommendation from staff is to actually vote to remove it from the agenda. When it comes to the good of the city and around the table, I'll request a motion to direct the law director to draft new legislation. We can discuss that now, we wait till then, however you want to handle it.
I mean, we might as well talk about it now.
Okay.
We're here.
So just, we're looking at to changing, since the last meeting, we tabled it because we had one party that decided that they didn't want to enter into the agreement after we went through the process of drafting an agreement and revising it, going through all the iterations. So at this point, there is I'll say the word potential for a new agreement that would just be with the property owners, who is the Cultural Center of Henry County. So since this agreement is no longer agreeable to all parties, that's hence the reason why for the motion to remove it from the agenda.
All right. Anybody have any questions or comments? So we need a motion now to
Correct.
remove it.
I'll motion to remove it from the agenda.
Second.
Okay, Rox, please call the roll.
Molly.
Yes.
Ross.
Yes.
Ken.
Yes.
Dan.
Yes.
Joe.
Yes.
Lori.
Yes.
Jeff.
Yes.
Okay, that has been removed from the agenda. Just take a motion to direct the law director to draft new legislation.
Oh, yeah.
You want to do that
Do
now?
they-
Now-
Well, do they know what they're directing me to draft, or
Yeah, well,
carte blanche?
yeah, we have a new proposed agreement in draft form right now. Like I said before, the new agreement is just between the city and the CCHC, the Cultural Center of Henry County. So at this point, we're still talking about the details of the draft agreement. They aren't finalized yet, so if it's okay with council, similar to how we did it last time, if you could direct the law director to draft legislation, the details of the agreement, when the draft is complete, will be presented to council for review.
And that necessarily won't be the next meeting. It could be the next meeting, or it could be,
At the appropriate,
Yeah.
for the appropriate next council meeting. So if we don't have things finalized by the next council meeting, it won't be on the next council meeting, but I'll be able to provide updates to everybody at that point. If it's okay with you, we can have it on discussion action, just to give an update at that point.
yeah, I'm fine with doing a motion to direct the law director to draft legislation when it's appropriate.
I'll motion.
With that. I think I kind of made that motion, so she'll
Oh, I'll
recognize it.
second.
Kind of. So, go ahead, Rox, call the roll.
Molly.
Yes.
Ross.
Yes.
Ken.
Yes.
Dan.
Yes.
Joe.
Yes.
Lori.
Yes.
Jeff.
Yes.
All right, moving on to item H2, resolution number 060-21, a resolution authorizing the finance director to enter into an agreement with the Regional Income Tax Agency, RETA, to participate in the Regional Council of Governments for the purpose of administration and collection of municipal income tax in the city of Napoleon, Ohio. Also authorizing the expenditure of funds for the administration and collection of municipal income tax in the city of Napoleon, Ohio, and declaring an emergency. Have a motion.
I'll motion.
Second.
Okay. Kevin?
This is the resolution that's been discussed about having the city of Napoleon move from having internal income tax department to moving it towards the RETA to have that taken care of with their resources. They've already do it for a couple hundred different cities throughout Ohio. It's a strong move for the city of Napoleon. It allows us to have experts to collect and/or go after individuals for income tax. And this would be the first reading of the three that we're asking for. So what you're asking for is that the finance director, the ability to sign the agreement to join the Regional Council of Governments, which is the organization that runs RETA.
And My understanding, I looked into this a little bit, if we were to pass this and we were part of RETA and use that, and as a citizen paying my taxes, I can go onto their website and I can file my taxes on there. And would there be an additional charge for me to do that?
There's no additional charge for anybody to do that.
Okay.
It would actually be more convenient for our citizens to be able to go online, because currently you cannot do that.
Right.
You can do the tax form online, but you would still have to bring that in.
Mhm.
Whereas if we move to RETA, and when we do, then it could be all done electronically. And not only for private citizens, but also for businesses to do that.
Nice.
I do anticipate that once we do have this move, that our doors will still be open for customer service wise, to have people still be able to come in to answer questions, and we can help them out if necessary.
And if we did pass this, then it wouldn't take effect till July 1st?
The timeline that we have in place is this is be the first reading, next council meeting the second, and then the first one in January would be the third. And then at that point, we would sign the agreement for the Regional Council of Governments. Their committee would approve us, which I don't anticipate any problems from that. And then it's a matter of where they'll start extracting some of our data, running tests. But yeah, we would officially roll that over July 1st or beginning of July.
Okay. Thank you.
That would get us through this income tax collection, barring any pushback from like the federal government, because we still anticipate that the tax date at this point is still April 18th. So I anticipate, unless that gets moved back for COVID reasons.
Right. Okay. Any other questions or comments for Kevin?
Kevin, a couple years ago, state of Ohio tried to do this, and we pushed back on that pretty hard. And they were gonna charge, it was like 1%, I think, to start, and maybe more than that. My memory's a little foggy on that. Do you have an idea approximately how much RETA's gonna charge us to do this?
When I applied to have them see if it would be feasible for Napoleon,
Right.
they had us do studies about how many citizens we have, how much money we collect. And the rough estimate's around $100,000 a year of
Okay.
a fee that they would do. Two things to remember on this is, one is that currently in the finance department, there is 2 positions that are not filled. One of them that I certainly would not fill if we go to this direction. And for a full-time position with benefits and all that, that would pretty much offset that cost. The addition to that would be, the second thing is that any city that I talk to that has joined RETA has told me that they have gained income tax collection because they were more successful in getting that done. So that's an added bonus to what we would have. That amount, I have no idea,
Right.
but that would be, I would anticipate that we would actually collect more.
Are you okay with your staff not filling that position? I don't want to cut you too short, right? We want to make sure that we're providing quality service for our residents.
We certainly will keep the current income tax administrator.
Okay.
In fact, my discussion with her is that this is not a position to eliminate her job.
Okay.
Her job will change, and then maybe slide her into different duties, but that is certainly not the case where this is a matter of letting anybody go or
Right.
taking that. But she is a department of 1, and at one point, that was a department of about 4 people through the years, and as things went a little more efficiently,
Right.
we've had positions that, and we all have, that have been not filled, and we have no plans of filling it. But I would anticipate that she would either remain a department of 1 or 1.5.
Okay. And once we get in, if we assume we all agree to this and it passes 3 times and Rita says, come on in, is there a pathway to get out? If the council's changed their mind down the road, Rita's doing terrible service and charging us way too much, and we say, we don't want to be here anymore, how do we get out?
There is certainly a pathway. The pathway is that you have to give notice by July 1st of a year, of any particular year, so 5 years from now. And
Okay.
then once you give that notice, you are out July 31st with that, or excuse me, December 31st.
Okay.
So there's that lag of getting out. There's no cost for getting out.
Okay.
When I raised that question to Rita, they started this in 1991. They've had 17 villages or cities asked to be removed. 3 of them asked to come back.
Okay.
The reason for all of them to be removed is they felt that they could do it themselves. And so it's various sizes.
Sure.
One of the most local ones that I saw, I had the list of the 17, and I could share that with any of you. This was lipstick.
Okay.
So that does happen, but it's a rarity
Right.
with that. Because there are various sizes. The cities, currently Liberty Center's on that. They use Rita. City of Bryan just signed on to come on to go to Rita, so they're in that transition phase with that.
Those are the issues I had with the state doing it is, you know, big states can take and do this for us without us being able to say yes or no, and the state could just change by a stroke of a pen and people voting at the state level how much they could charge us, and that was really kind of out of our control. I like having this.
Well, the
That we
regional
have,
count,
we have a reason, if they're charging too much and offering bad service, that we have a way of, taking ourselves out if we need to.
we have a way
Stuff
of, we have a
changes.
way of getting out. I would say that the difference between having the state do it is that this Regional Council of Governments that we're gonna join is run by a board that's elected upon its members.
Okay,
So if it goes in a direction that we're not comfortable with years from now, we can certainly get out. But
Right.
it's also something that is gonna affect all the members evenly with that.
okay,
So while they certainly have to pay their expenses, and for all the cities, we'd have to agree to make sure that they do pay their expenses.
right,
Beyond their current expenses, it's not like they're making money or they're gonna slide money elsewhere.
sure, right,
Like would be, that could be a concern with having a bigger government, I'll say,
Right.
do that.
okay,
A pretty crucial big difference as well is the state wasn't planning on enforcing anything for us. They weren't gonna chase anybody. They would accept filings and accept money, but they weren't gonna file anything on our behalf or institute any sort of collection whatsoever. So, but they were gonna keep our money, the state
Right,
was.
right, yeah.
Thank you. And, but Rita offers a service. It's a pretty big difference, I think. If they are successful in collection, this would be a big deal.
Is that included in the current potential deal, or is that an add-on?
There are some things that we can add on depending on how much we want to do.
Okay,
But they certainly go after, and what they do, what they have the ability to do is cross-reference a lot of records. The federal IRS records, they can cross-reference, for
Okay.
example. So if Bob and Betty Buckeyes state in their federal
Right.
report that they made X amount of money, and then they tell the city of Napoleon they make only Y amount, when that doesn't match, then they have the ability to investigate and go after people.
okay,
Where it could stop is how much we want them to prosecute or go after, and we would have a say in that.
okay. Okay, and Bill, you okay with that? With-
Yeah, no, that's gonna take a little bit of weight off of me, I
Right.
imagine. So since we've been filing a lot of criminal charges based on tax, in an attempt to convince people to file and pay their taxes. So this might be just as effective, maybe more, and take a little bit of work away. That might be nice.
Okay.
So Kevin, in your research, have you found anything that you have a little bit of concern with, or any negative that you've heard at all?
I've not really heard a lot of negative. I mean, the mayors that I spoke to, I've spoke to two former mayors of villages or cities that have went through the process, and it's all been positive. I think the record speaks for itself. We're only like 17 have backed out, and I wouldn't have any idea why that would be. But it is, to me, everything I've heard of, it's a very strong organization. And to be honest, this was one of the things that, it was on our list of the state audit that was done, and for whatever reason, it was not moved to that. So, I mean, even when we had that audit, and I know that audit had a lot of other things of doing for the city of Napoleon, but I think that is one of the things that probably should have been looked at closer at that time, and could have moved to that.
Oh, the performance audit for,
The performance audit, yeah.
I've talked to a couple council members from other cities that have been using this, and that they've all had positive things, and some residents that, people that used to live in Napoleon, now they live somewhere that they have Rita, and they love being able to file online, and they said it's very easy.
And I think that's what what we're gonna move to is, again, I wanna leave our doors open for for any citizen to come in to be able to ask questions. Our phone number will still be, we'll be able to pick up and talk to people through the phone, but we also get a lot of those that, boy, when they walk in, you know, I wish I didn't have to come here, I wish I could just do it online.
Yeah. I get those comments every year.
We're getting more and more of those issues arising, just because it's not a matter of convenience anymore to file with that. And our income tax is pretty straightforward for most people, and if they could get it done online, download their W-2s and get that sent into them, you know, it could be taken care of at stroke of midnight on their own, at their own home, so.
Now, will we be able to help people walk through that process if somebody came in here and said, hey, either I don't have a computer at home, or I don't know how to get to the site or how to do it?
Certainly, and that's
Okay.
part of it, not closing our door.
Good.
There are some entities, cities over time, that you do not talk to anybody. You talk to Rita. And at this point, I do not anticipate that at all.
Great. All right, thank you. Any other questions, comments? Rox, please call the roll.
Molly,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
John.
Yes.
All right.
Just a quick comment, if I may.
Yes, sir.
I got a comment that the sound quality is dropping out, so if you get a chance, you talk into the microphone clearly, then should be able to pick it up okay.
All right. Thank you. Okay, moving on to the item I, second readings of ordinances and resolutions. Second here. Item I-1 is resolution number 048-21. A resolution amending resolution number 063-20, the city's yearly reoccurring costs legislation, and declaring an emergency. Do you have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Both.
Thank you, Council President. The rest of the second readings, including this one, are, well, actually excluding the Water Rate Review Commission, which is next. I'm not going to have anything to add to them, so unless anybody has questions about the budget, just when you go through each one, if you could ask them at the appropriate time.
So you're saying I don't have to read all these? All right, any questions or comments on that one? Okay, Rox, please call the roll.
Molly,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
John.
Yes.
All right. Item I-2, ordinance number 049-21, an ordinance establishing a water rate review commission and amending Title V of the codified ordinances of the city of Napoleon, Ohio, specifically adding Chapter 183, Water Rate Review Commission, and declaring an emergency.
Motion.
Second.
Joel?
Nothing new to add to this either. That, just as a reminder, this is part of the, this was part of the contract for the Village of Florida when we renewed their contract. So a part of that was establishing a Water Rate Review Commission, which will meet periodically to review matters that affect water rates. We'll meet with the BOPA and the Water and Sewer Committee of Council.
Thank you. Have any questions or comments? Hey, Rox, please call the roll.
Molly,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
John.
Yes.
Okay, item I-3, resolution number 051-21, a resolution authorizing expenditure of funds in excess of $25,000 in and for the year 2022 as it relates to reoccurring costs associated with the operation of the city for payment of expenses and for purchases associated with vendors utilized by multiple departments within the city, elimination of necessity of competitive bidding in and for the year 2022 as it relates to certain transactions, and declaring an emergency. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Anything to add on this one, Joel?
Nothing.
Any questions? Hey, Rox, please call the roll.
Molly,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
John.
Yep.
All right. Moving on to item I4, resolution number 052-21, a resolution authorizing the expenditure of funds and authorizing a department director to take bids on certain projects, services, equipment, and materials or supplies without the requirement for additional legislation to do so in the year 2022 and declaring an emergency.
Motion.
Second.
Okay. Any questions or comments for this one? Rox, please call the roll.
Molly,
Yes.
Ross.
Yes.
Ken.
Yes.
Dan.
Yes.
Joe.
Yes.
Lori.
Yes.
Joe.
Yes.
Okay, item I6, ordinance number 055-21, an ordinance establishing a new position classification pay plan for employees of the city of Napoleon, Ohio for the year 2022, repealing ordinance number 067-20, and declaring an emergency.
Motion.
Second.
Any questions, comments?
I had a question on the exhibit. It appears that we have noted the 2.25% increase on the positions noted with an asterisk. Are those the only positions that are being impacted with this legislation? I thought it was all non-bargaining.
It should be all non-bargaining, so these are all non-bargaining positions. Unless, Kevin, do you have anything? I couldn't tell you why that was noted on there.
It should be all non-bargaining. Everything would be a 2.25% increase. I'm not sure why that is asterisk there. I can find out for you. I guess I don't have a comparison to show you though, Ross, but I could tell you that, any of those listed there increased
Would be
the
impacted.
percentage, yes.
Okay. I didn't know if we just needed to update that on the exhibit or not, just wanted to point it out.
Thanks, and yes, it'll be either explained out or have it corrected for the next. I think if I'm looking at it looks like there's only 3 positions in there, all in the engineering section, but it seems kind of random because it's not all of them. But it might be a carryover from something else, so it might have just been left in from
That's what it looks
a
like.
previous draft.
Any other questions or comments? Hey, Rox, please call the roll.
Molly,
Yes.
Ross.
Yes.
Ken.
Yes.
Dan.
Yes.
Joe.
Yes.
Lori.
Yes.
Joe.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to, let's see, what item is this? These are out of order. Are we on I6?
5521.
Okay, got it. Ordinance number 055-21, an ordinance establishing the appropriation measure budget of the city of Napoleon, Ohio for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2022, listed in Exhibit A, and declaring an emergency. Have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Okay. Anybody have any questions or comments on this one? Rox, please call the roll.
Molly.
Yes.
Ross.
Yes.
Ken.
Yes.
Dan.
Yes.
Joe.
Yes.
Lori.
Yes.
Joe.
Yes.
Okay, item I7, resolution number 056-21, a resolution authorizing the finance director to transfer certain fund balances from respective funds to other funds per section 5705.14 ORC on the as-needed basis in fiscal year 2022, listed in Exhibit A, and declaring an emergency.
Motion.
Second.
Anybody have any questions or comments regarding this one? Hey, Rox, please call the roll.
Molly.
Yes.
Ross.
Yes.
Ken.
Yes.
Dan.
Yes.
Joe.
Yes.
Lori.
Yes.
Joe.
Yes.
Item I-8, ordinance number 057-21, an ordinance amending the allocation of funds as found in sections 193.11 and 194.013 of the codified ordinances of the city of Napoleon, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Okay, Rox, please call the roll.
Molly.
Yes.
Ross.
Yes.
Ken.
Yes.
Dan.
Yes.
Joe.
Yes.
Lori.
Yes.
Jeff.
Yes.
Okay, item I-9, resolution number 058-21, a resolution authorizing a contribution to the Community Improvement Corporation of Henry County, Ohio, in and for the year 2022, and declaring an emergency.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, any questions? Okay, Rox, please call the roll.
Molly.
Yes.
Ross.
Yes.
Ken.
Yes.
Dan.
Yes.
Joe.
Yes.
Lori.
Yes.
Jeff.
Yes.
Okay, and item I-10, ordinance number 059-21, an ordinance apportioning the expenses incurred, including wages, salaries, and fringe benefits of the mayor, council, and various other departments of the city of Napoleon, which are not otherwise directly charged to special and/or capital projects among various accounts effective January 1st, 2022, amending ordinance numbers 104-09, 087-19, and 069-20, and declaring an emergency.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, any questions or comments? Okay, Rox, please call the roll.
Molly.
Yes.
Ross.
Yes.
Ken.
Yes.
Dan.
Yes.
Joe.
Yes.
Lori.
Yes.
Jeff.
Yes.
All right, moving on to third reads. Well, it's boring, there's only one.
Wait till next meeting.
What, there's gonna be 10?
You're welcome.
Item J1, resolution number 046-21, a resolution extending the provisions contained in ordinance number 021-18 and resolutions number 08619 and 072-20, wherein council impose a temporary reduction and/or temporary elimination of certain residential building permit fees and declaring an emergency.
Motion.
Second.
Nothing new to add to this one
No.
either, so.
All right.
I like the way we do this now.
Yeah.
So,
All right. Any comments or questions? All right. Rox, please call the roll.
Molly.
Yes.
Ross.
Yes.
Ken.
Yes.
Dan.
Yes.
Joe.
Yes.
Lori.
Yes.
Jeff.
Yes.
All right. That one is passed on third read. Okay, moving on to item K, good of the city. K1, discussion or action on Honey Blossom Orchard. Okay, Joel.
Thank you, Council President. The owners of the Honey Blossom Orchard were unable to make it tonight, so just to say make a few comments. You probably, at least a handful of you have been contacted, and others outside of the city organization, as well as city staff have been contacted by the owners of Honey Blossom Orchard about a few items. But namely, I just kind of wanted to start from the beginning, and how this came about as an issue was that it was discovered that the business has a certificate of occupancy as an A2, but it's not as an A2, as a commercial mercantile establishment, so retail. And also for, putting on small seminars and education seminars, things like that. And we had discovered that there were advertisements for the business to operate as a banquet hall, in which case puts it in a different usage category, and has certain other requirements. Their certificate of occupancy is for 49 people, not 200 or 350 people. So that came about, prompted an inspection, a fire inspection. And if just before I move on to the inspection piece, they had come in a year prior and talked about agritourism and going through the process of getting an approval or a designation for agritourism. At that time, we didn't really have a process for that. Kevin rightfully had told them, go through the county first, check with them, see if there's any requirements on their end. There were none, and then they were gonna come back to Kevin and take it to the planning commission, which was the right steps. And they didn't take it back to the planning commission, and that's fine, because what they're doing really isn't affected by this. But having an agritourism designation does get them out of some building inspection or building code requirements. However, that does not exempt them from anything in the fire code. And that's what the issue is at hand here. So the fire inspection ensued. We had a follow-up from Joel Fry, Assistant Chief Joel Fry, that does fire prevention, that does all the inspections in the city. Sent them a letter, let them know what needs to be corrected, things like that. But a couple of things of clarification too, that they had contacted actually the Liberty Center Fire Chief, or Liberty Township Fire Chief, Brian Baker, to come out and do an inspection. We did get some clarification from him, but just so everybody's aware, and so I'm saying it now, is that the primary fire district for that property is the Napoleon Fire Department. So they can have courtesy fire inspections from whoever they want. It's just that officially we do the fire inspections for them and provide any other documentation that's needed by them. And also, the designation of an A2 has been brought up. An A2 is basically an assembly hall or a banquet hall. In this case, they have to have their building a sprinkler system or some other type of fire protection means. This has actually been happening around the state so much that the state's Department of Commerce actually put out a flyer on agritourism and what you can and can't do, because they're seeing this a lot more. People want to have barn weddings and receptions and things like that. So this isn't uncommon or strictly a Napoleon issue at all. It's statewide. So they put out this flyer and just to kind of hopefully help provide some clarification to some of these places. There was one in Wood County that actually went through because you got to have it. The fire code's pretty black and white. You got to have your sprinkler system, fire suppression system, everything in place, and that can be costly. But what this other barn type establishment, banquet hall, wanted to do is take it through the board, the Ohio State Board of Building Appeals, and they did that. I think they're in the process now, or they've completed.
They're in the process right now.
In the process right now. So they put together a plan to help alleviate putting in a suppression system, which may or may not work. But that's a route that they can go in also, is to address their fire code issues by going through the Board of Zoning Appeal or Board of Building Appeals at the state level.
Just for clarification, when you say fire code, you're not saying Napoleon's fire code.
Correct. Yes.
This
I'm
is all
saying
based on state fire code.
That is correct.
Okay, so we don't just make up our own.
No, this is not a
Just wanna make
local code. This is a statewide code. So, but those are the couple of things that I wanted to point out. So they do have their letter, but they also have 2 items on the December 14th Planning Commission meeting. These were the things that they wanted to discuss, but we've been having some email conversations back and forth. Hopefully, we're able to answer all their questions at this point, in case it comes up again. They did request the council president, for everybody else, to be on the agenda to have a discussion. They were unable to make it, so December 14th, though, Planning Commission, they'll have a item on there for agritourism designation and a property split, because they are planning to auction their property, at least I guess what you'd call it, the easterly portion of the property. So that's why that's on the agenda. Those are the discussion items that I have. I don't really have anything else to add unless anybody else does. I know she's contacted, like I said, a handful of you, so
For the planning commission meeting, can Assistant Chief Fry be there?
Yep. Yep, that's it,
Okay.
yeah.
Um,
Good, okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That would be helpful, I think, to give the planning commission a clarification of certain things, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And we have some volunteers that we want to make sure we give them every chance for all the education that they may ask at that night.
And are they gonna have something submitted to the planning commission as far as a request? I've not seen anything that they've submitted at this point.
Oh, yes, so one of the things is I feel like we've been very accommodating to, any business that walks through the door. In this particular case, they were 2 weeks behind on their application to get it on for the December meeting. That's for the property split, even though they had the auction scheduled. They don't have the property split approved by the plan. It's got to be through the planning commission and then final approval through council. So that has to happen yet. They submitted that, oh gosh, I'm trying to remember here, it was very recent. I believe it was just last week. So we got the mailings out that we needed to get. All they have is the application for the agritourism designation and the property split, nothing else. So those are the only 2 items that are on there. Everything else, fire code wise, not a part of it.
Right.
Oh, is the whole property in the city limits?
Yes.
Everything that they own?
Yes.
All right.
So that's all I have.
Thank you for the update. Thank you for all the hard work everybody's been doing, digging in and trying to accommodate, but also making sure that we're following the state laws and to be able to have a safe place for people to assemble. So thank you, both Chief and Assistant Chief. Thank you for all your hard work. All right. Moving on to item K2, discussion or action approval of specifications and go out to bid for Van Hining pumping station replacement project. Chad?
Round 3. Yes, we did a quick revision to the plans and the estimate for the project. The estimate has been increased to $2.5 million. Plans are done, specs are done. We'd like to put this out for bid. This will be funded through DEFA, which will be a low interest loan. And I don't know if it necessarily matters today, but DEFA is allowing us a contingency on this project. We're hopeful to stay within the estimated engineer's estimate. But with approval, we'll put this out for bid next week and open bids in February, end of January. I think it's the end of January, sorry. Completion date is December 1st, 2023, for the big items with final completion May 31st, 2024. This should allow us to meet the deadlines required by the EPA. As long as we have substantial completion by December 1st of 2023, we'll meet their deadlines.
Chad, the old bids, the old estimate was low. That's what our contractors told us.
Yes.
Is that because the pipe prices have gone up, the electronic prices have gone up, the work prices have gone up, all the above, none of the above?
All of the above, the most substantial being the pipe and the electronics and the casing pipe.
Okay.
Labor's gone up somewhat over the last couple of years, but most of it's material costs.
Okay,
The easements and acquisitions we made those about 3-4 years ago, so those were already in place.
okay.
Prevailing wage in the state of Ohio has seen roughly a 5% increase in the last 2 years, but other than that, it's all material.
All material, okay.
So if we pass this and it goes to bid and you find somebody that's willing to do the project, and let's say 8 months from now, some of these prices change, will we get that rate?
We have a section in the city's bid documents that allow for price adjustments. Now, they're set up to be able to go both ways. I've only ever seen an increase twice. I've never seen a decrease. We will monitor that, but talking to others in the industry,
So I know we have a deadline to get this done. So let's say we didn't have the money to pay this extra $1 million or close to. What would happen if we couldn't meet that deadline?
The EPA has the ability to impose fines. I've only ever seen that done once in my career, and it was not here. Joel, I don't know if the city of Toledo ever gotten any of those instances. With findings
No.
orders, they can impose them, but,
Yeah, no,
They
not
try to
that.
work.
The only one I've seen is Mommy.
oh, okay. I had one in Village of Continental in the early nineties. Generally, they're understanding, they've been very understanding with schedules due to COVID over the last couple of years. But they also have the ability to say, we don't care. EPA's scary, the people there are nice. So we work with them the best we can. I'm just hopeful we can get a bid that we can award.
And we've got enough documentation in hand now, doing 2 bids in a row, not getting any, with reasonable cost estimates for what was at the time today's standards is now yesterday's standards, I guess.
I guess my thought, and I just started thinking about this today, is, I mean, like, the price of 2x4s and things, I mean, they skyrocketed, and then they came down a little bit. I'd hate for a year and a half from now, like you're saying, who knows, maybe they can come down, and we just spent $800,000 more than if we would've waited, and the fine could have been $20,000.
Sure.
I mean, we don't know that, I don't have a crystal ball to say that, but I'd hate,
And I do know steel prices are continuing to climb, and the issue with PVC pipe is the resin in Texas, which is about the only place you can make PVC pipe. There's just a shortage, and they're seeing it across the industry. Part of the reason we had such a large cost for the pipe for the work taking place on Bailiff Road was because we basically expedited that. But we also found out during the process when we couldn't award 2 other bids, the consultant involved on the project had estimated that around $300 to $400 per foot. We were hearing from contractors a better number was $1,200 per foot. To give you an idea how much some of these have gone up.
all right, thank you, Chad, appreciate it. All right, so, need a motion to approve the specifications.
Motion?
Second.
Hey, Rox, please call the roll.
Molly,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Jeff.
Yes.
All right, item K3, discussion or action on amending ORC section 143.01, composition and control of city fire and rescue department. Anything to discuss on this or draft?
We don't have to now if you don't want to.
Oh.
It's just a cleanup
Okay.
item for the reciprocity. The reduction, when council voted in the reduction of the reciprocity credit, we're looking at adding a firefighter full-timer. So the composition of the fire department number would have to change from 5 to 6. So more or less a cleanup item.
Would like to note that I will not be drafting legislation to revise the revised code.
Thank you.
It will be Napoleon ordinance that I'll be drafting, but
In accordance with the
Yeah.
ORC.
in accordance with, well, in accordance with
Yeah.
the changes that we made previously.
Right.
It is just a cleanup item, but we don't have the jurisdiction or the authority to amend the ORC.
Okay.
Right? We
Yeah,
could-
I wish
we could fix some stuff, right?
Does the fire department really need this extra person still? I mean, have they been busy this year?
I've been kind of busy. Breaking records?
All right, I have a motion to direct the law director to draft legislation.
I'll motion.
Second.
Okay, Rox, please call the roll.
Molly,
Yes.
Ross.
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Jeff.
Yes.
Item K4, discussion or action, acceptance of donation from the Church of Nazarene to Napoleon Parks and Recreation Department. Oh, we're tabling that, that's right. So that's gonna stay tabled. Okay, go around the table here. You want to start, Kevin?
I've got nothing to add.
Good start. Ross?
I'll just say I'm thankful that there's an opportunity for an agreement with the CCHC still, that those discussions have continued after hitting an abrupt wall previously. So, thank you.
Thank you. Ken?
I have nothing.
All right, Dan?
Just one thing, are we still, Chad or Joel, still progressing now with the Bales Road emergency situation? It hasn't been delayed again, or?
No, late last week, the casing pipe was delivered. The subcontractor that's installing the casing pipe under the railroad started this morning. We waited until 8 o'clock to close the road so they could get into the school. They expect to have the casing pipe installed no later than the end of the day Wednesday, and then we'll continue placing the PVC pipe inside the casing pipe, putting the manholes in, connecting everything. We have it set up for a potential 2-week closure. If we can get that work finished quicker, we will. But everything is moving forward now.
Weather related, I'm assuming.
Yes, however, the weather's not pleasant, but unless it's a downpour, we'll be able to work. The problem if it rains hard, one, we're working in a storm sewer, and two, the storm sewer is about 20 feet deep in a big hole that will hold water. So unless it's raining, we should be okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
That's all, sir.
Thank you. Jason?
The Christmas lights look really good throughout town. I know Tim Bruns and the whole Parks Rec department did a good job putting that together, and the electric department with their boom trucks and everybody. That looks really, really good throughout the downtown, so that's really nice. Got a Christmas postcard from Congressman Latta. You can read it as you will. He and his wife and 2 daughters had a nice trip to the great state of Alaska for a nice vacation. I do have some reappointments and some appointments to make for various boards, council, committees, commissions, and boards. So you want me to do them all at once? You want me to do them one at a time? How do you want me to do it?
Guess one at a time then. I mean, if you have to specify who's gonna be on. But can we do one vote to accept all of them?
I mean, it might get sticky if for some reason somebody objected to one particular.
All right.
Like to reappoint Larry Vokey to the Board of Zoning Appeals.
All right, yeah, go ahead and just read them all.
All right, like to reappoint Laura Etzler for the Tree Commission. Like to reappoint Kyle Moore to the Tree Commission. Like to reappoint Bill Finnegan to the Civil Service Commission. Like to reappoint Matt Hardy to the Parks and Rec Board. Like to reappoint Peg Function to the Parks and Rec Board. Just the one. Those are the ones I need to done tonight, please.
All right.
Do we need a motion? So moved.
Second.
Okay, Rox, please call the roll.
Molly,
Yes.
Ross.
Yes.
Ken.
Yes.
Dan.
Yes.
Joe.
Yes.
Lori.
Yes.
Jeff.
Yes.
Thank you. Part of my personal goal for 2022 is make sure all the committees, commissions, and boards are still required. For example, we have a Henry County Metropolitan Housing Authority, a Housing Advisory Committee, and also a Housing Council. I don't know what they all do, but I make sure they all are still required and what they all do. It makes it easier for me to go out and ask for help if I know exactly what they all do. Last is a big football game for me is on Saturday. Army plays Navy, 3 o'clock on Saturday. If you can't watch the whole game, I suggest you tune in about 6:30 on Saturday. These games always go down to the wire, and Saturday probably be no different. Don't turn it off at the end of the game. Watch what makes the Army Navy game really special, and that's the singing of the alma maters at the end. CBS they've held their rights. They've done a really good job making sure that both of those alma maters get sung and get on TV. So it makes the Army Navy game unique, and hope you can watch Army beat Navy again. So, that's what I have.
Go
Thank you very
Navy.
much. Want to make a friendly wager there, Councilman Hayes?
Certainly.
Okay,
Maybe that can be off the record.
we'll be off the record, of course.
Hey, Lori?
Ask Billy to draft legislation.
Question for, but, had the question if during this time of the Bales Road closure, there could be no parking on the streets leading to the high school, just because it's backed up and congested.
That was brought up to me last week. We are watching that situation. I go through that area every morning. This morning on Westmont, there was one parked car. On Claremont, I believe there were 3. If acceptable, I'd like to work with the police chief, and if we have an issue, we could do something quickly. But if we don't have an issue, we can monitor it unless we absolutely want to do something. But with the amount of parked vehicles on there, I'd like to see how it goes for a day or 2 if possible. But we will watch it.
Right. There's a lot more traffic through those streets than normally. And second question, Chief Mack. Someone was asking if there has ever been a thought of using some sort of grant money to put more lighting at Kids Kingdom to help with some of the vandalism that we've been talking about.
That would be Parks and Rec.
And that's in that's in the works too. Lighting and camera coverage.
We talked about cameras, but they were just mentioning how dark they.
Yeah, specifically the restrooms, that's really what's been vandalized. I mean, you get some, kids drawn on slides and things that get actually picked up pretty quick by the Parks and Rec staff. But the vandalism of the, physical items that are in the bathrooms are the main issue. So lighting up in front of the bathroom entrances and then having that camera coverage we think will go a long way.
Yep. That's all for me. Thank you.
I
have nothing.
All right, Molly?
Nothing, thank you.
All right, Billy?
Just real brief, it looks like there is a request for an executive session that states pending litigation. If we could have that be a motion for pending or imminent litigation, I would prefer that, thank you.
Okay. All right. Joel?
Thank you. What I have on the screen is a letter from Judge Amy Rosebrook. Before she left, she handed it to me on Friday, so I asked Rox to put it in the packet. I know it's addressed to me, but it's really addressed to everybody. She just wanted to express to all of us how much she's appreciated working with us over the past 10 years and working with the city, and just kind of talks about government institution can be marred by infighting and divisive rhetoric, but it's been an honor for her to work with us and work consistently and work together. That's one item. The second item I have, which isn't in here, I just got it today, was from Joel Miller. There was a request to supply from the city a letter of support for the Henry County Agricultural Improvement Association. I think I got that right. And don't know how quickly they need it, but I think it has something to do with the funding application to the state, because it's addressed to Senator Rob McCulley and Representative Jim Hoops. So I guess what we've done in the past is just have mayor and council president sign the letter if we get something drafted up pretty quick. Would that be okay with everyone?
Yep, fine for me.
Okay, and that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, I want to add one executive session. I didn't look it up to see exactly, so Billy, I asked your help and Rox, regarding the water rates. I'm not sure what's the whole legal.
I guess if without the facts, it may be difficult to give you advice on that exactly. Let me see if I can. Yeah, I think that's probably the way to go. So matters to remain confidential due to the nature of a public utility is probably the best way to go.
That's exactly what I said.
Yep.
Can we have a motion to go into executive session for that?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Hey, Rox, please call the roll.
Molly,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Lori, yes, Joe.
Yes.
All right. And a motion to go into executive session for pending or imminent litigation.
So,
Second.
Hey, Rox, please call the roll.
Molly,
Yes.
Ross.
Yes.
Ken.
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Lori, yes, Joe.
Yes.
And I think we should all go into the other room.
Yeah.
Can I bring the police chief and the fire chief with me for
Yep.
pending or imminent litigation?
Yeah.
Take a Ridley.
Hey, Billy, can you help me out with the one executive session? I didn't write that down.
Related to water?
Yes.
Um,
I need to write that down. You said it, dude.
Matters remain confidential due to the competitive nature of a utility.
There we go.
Well said, Joe. That's really, that's just,
It rolls off the tongue.
Second.
Hey, Rox, please call the roll.
Molly,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Ken.
yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Lori, yes, Joe.
Yes.
And we have a motion to come out of executive session for pending or imminent litigation. Couldn't read my writing.
So moved.
Second.
Rox, please call the roll.
Molly,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Ken.
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Lori, yes, Joe.
Yes.
All right, item M, approve payment of bills. In the absence of any objections or corrections, the payment of bills shall stand approved.
Just have a question on page 9 of 22, the various room updates at the PD. Chief, we happy with that?
The rooms, it's under construction, we have started it, so, just the one that Jerry Tigers.
Yep.
Yeah, he started that, so that's part of that quote, or part of that bid has to be paid up front, so you get supplies. And it is moving fast.
Okay.
So I welcome everybody to come out and see the changes as they happen. He's there about every day right now,
Awesome. Cool.
so.
And he
Definitely helping us out in many ways.
he made sure to tell me today that he's making the dollars stretch too.
He told me he told you that.
Yeah.
And that is
What I
true.
believe it,
That
I
is
believe
true.
that
He
too,
is.
yeah.
I think there's quite a bit getting done for what we're paying for.
Good deal.
Merry Christmas, Chief.
Thank you. It's definitely changed
start.
some of the
Well,
personality.
don't worry, he did get a Christmas present.
Yeah.
The,
Oh, yeah.
we have a matter we're looking into also, that may be additional costs. So,
Great.
it's like any other remodel project.
Surprise.
Yeah, you find surprises.
All right, any other objections or corrections or questions? Okay, motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Hey, Rox, please call the roll.
Molly,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Ken.
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Lori, yes, Joe.
Yes.
All right.